Hi, everybody. Hello, hello. Good morning, and good evening if you're watching us from Cameroon. Hi, thanks for joining us for the part two of our agricultural series. So, if you were here on Saturday, we spoke to three farmers, three diverse farmers. I did learn a lot. I learned a lot. Okay. So I learned about crossbreeding. I learned about vaccination in livestock. It was amazing. So if you missed that, please go on our YouTube and watch that live stream. Do not leave right now. Okay. Stay put. If you're joining us for the first time, hey, my name is Sally, and myself and Ari Obenson will be your hosts for today. And today we are on our second part of our agriculture, the heart of Cameroon's economy. And today we will be talking about unlocking the potential of large scale farming. If you've never heard of us, do not worry. This is I Am Cameroon, and we have a mission and a vision. Our mission or our vision as I Am Cameroon is for all Cameroonians to take ownership and action for the nation. And our mission is very simple, you guys, to educate, inspire, and engage Cameroonians to assume and accept responsibility for the future of the nation. Too long have we been sitting by the sidelines and complaining. And I Am Cameroon is here to give an opportunity to Cameroonians of good faith to just go back and invest in our country, get involved, okay? You can join I Am Cameroon, become a member, become a supporter. You can donate, and you can also become an advocate. All what you have to do is go to www.iamcameroon.org. If you are in Cameroon, you can become a member. Same website, however, we do receive payments with mobile money. Yes. So that's a little intro for you. We are going to have a three-part series, okay? This is our second part. And today I will be hosting the show with our founder, Ari Obenson. Hello, Ari. Good morning.
Good good morning. Good morning.
Hi. Hello.
Yeah.
So last week was amazing. All right. So we had the opportunity to speak with Tansy Derrick and Henry Makanga. So today we're talking with a very special guest. So I'm gonna pass it over to you to continue with our guest today on our discussion about large scale farming, which is something that I think a lot of people will want to listen to this morning and pay attention to it because it is the future.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Sally, for kicking us off today. Before I go on to introduce our guest, this is a necessary conversation that we're having. Nearly 20% of the GDP of Cameroon comes from agriculture, but interestingly, about 70% of the labor force in Cameroon is involved with agriculture. As you can see, there is an imbalance there, but it's projected to continue to grow. About $700 million is generated from agriculture. It is about one third of the national exports comes from agriculture. So it is really significant. There is opportunity to grow. Now we still have challenges, despite all those things that I said. We still have 30% of the population that experiences food insecurity. In Cameroon, we're still not self-sufficient in terms of agricultural production, that we find ourselves importing things like onions from outside our country. And then above all of this, we have the climatic and ecological conditions of Cameroon are actually very, very favorable to agriculture, which we haven't really capitalized on. But for
Agreed.
us to be able to do that, we need to get to the point where we can um, increase production and get many
Mhm.
more people involved. And obviously, that's why we're having a conversation today.
Right.
And so it gives me great pleasure today to bring in our guest, have a conversation with our guest, who is none other than Lisa Kina Idum, who, Lisa, please, if you don't, if you can join us, um, welcome.
Thank you.
I mean, welcoming Lisa to this conversation. I had that opening on agriculture, really just to draw people's attention to why it's important and necessary. But Lisa, welcome. I think
Thank
it
you.
may be great for us to start by getting to know you. Who is
Okay.
Lisa?
With Lisa. Um, Lisa is a girl from Guy. Guy is in the Northwest Province. For the people who don't know, professionally, I'm a banker, and my second job is farming, but not just any type of farming, impact farming, industrial farming. And we've been doing this since 2011. I'll tell you the history later. And somebody will ask me, why farming? Farming is the only thing that can permit me to employ 10,000 Cameroonians alone. Farming is the only thing that can, industrial farming is the only thing that can take us out of poverty, because there's a lot of talk about oil, gas. No. Look at Ethiopia, look at Kenya. They are getting out of poverty through agriculture. So that's the reason I do agriculture.
Great. It's a pleasure getting to know you. And whilst you were speaking, you did mention that journey, right? You said you started on this journey since 2011. What has that journey been like for you? Living, this corporate world where we sit in air-conditioned offices in the bank and make decisions, to actually wanting to be on the field, wanting to transform the landscape, wanting to change lives, contribute to the development of the country. I suppose it was not an easy journey. So what did that journey look like for you?
I think the thing would be blood, sweat, and tears. That's the way I can summarize the journey. So anybody thinking of going into this sector has to be prepared. It's not easy, but it's very rewarding. Okay, I'm seeing pictures of the land preparation. So I'm just going to tell you a bit, if you can hold on the slides,
Yes, yeah,
what we
on the
do.
slides. Let's talk about your journey
Okay.
to the point where we have those images.
My journey started as maybe a 3-year-old girl. During third term holidays, they used to take us to the village. My father had cattle, and then you have to carry your own. We have to go and feed the cattle. It was tedious, or you have to follow your grandmother to the farm to cultivate. But in my later years, while in Europe, I was thinking of what I can do back at home that will stop people from asking me for money, because when you're abroad, everybody thinks that you can give them money. So I was thinking of what is the business that I can do that I can impact everybody. Everybody in the village has access to land. You don't necessarily need to buy it. If you train them a bit, they can do their own thing. So I was looking for something that will be able to employ a lot of people. So even though as a banker with HSBC and the Barclays of the world, I came back to Africa. But I came back to Africa still as a banker. And the only reason I really came was to find a way to start agriculture in Cameroon. So in 2010, I moved back to Cameroon as a banker with the Union Bank of Cameroon. And then I started acquiring land. In the Northwest, in an area called the Mbok Plains, we acquired 10,000 hectares and we started working.
work with Guinness, we work with Brasseries, special working for grains. So the grain market, the soya beans, the sorghum, the soja. And we were doing very well. We had about 600 employees, and not to talk of the outgrowers. We had about 100 outgrowers who were farming around us. But unfortunately, in 2017, the Amber Boys came knocking, and we lost everything. I mean, everything. Tractors, bulldozers, 4,000 hectares of planted farms, animals, cattle, goats, everything, we lost it. And unfortunately, everybody has to go through that, I think, or some sort of depression. We went through a depression, but the drive that has always been there, the reason I packed my bags, the reason I left my job my job in suits and beautiful cars was still there. So we acquired new land in the Noon division, and we restarted. We started slowly, 10 hectares, 20. Now we are at 700 hectares, and the potential is still there. And that's what we do. That's where we are. Yeah. It has not been an easy journey, but this is the only time, I think, throughout this journey that you're so excited about what the future holds. I'm so excited. I know you've been trying to get me to speak about agriculture
yes.
for a long time.
Yeah.
And I apologize. For you to come and speak about a success story, you need to be at that spot. Yeah. I don't want to come and paint roses about it now. It's not that easy. But if you organize, you have the right partners, I think it's a piece of cake.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, to your point, knowing, being involved in some of this work and seeing how much progress you've made, coming back from the challenges faced as a result of the crisis in Cameroon, and not letting go of the dream and you've kept on working at it and growing. But you've spoken about this journey with all its challenges, and to this point, like where you are currently, let's talk a little bit about the dream that you have, like where we are. So let's talk a bit about NULA, the farm as it is now. If you don't mind sharing what is currently taking place, what you've done, what is being done. And then after that, we'll talk about going forward. What is the long-term dream? And then we'll come back and talk generally about the agricultural opportunities in Cameroon. So it's not just about NULA.
Okay. NULA streams are a bit too big even for me. At the moment, NULA cumulative in Cameroon has 38,000 hectares of land. The dream is that in the next 7 years, we should have cultivated 50,000 hectares of land. And the other dream is that I should be able to have brought at least, for now, I have about 5 America Wonders and people from Europe who are doing agriculture like me that I brought them. The dream is to make sure that I Am Cameroon even has a farm. For example,
we will really be interested in seeing that.
Right now, with Brasseries alone, I have a contract of 100,000 tons per year. Guinness is 60,000 tons per year. I'm only doing 10%. So even if I do all the 38,000 hectares of land, I cannot satisfy one client.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's
so the opportunity here is Ukraine. They say that sometimes war is good and war is not good. The war in Ukraine has helped us Africans to realize that we need to depend on ourselves.
Yeah, because it's a huge market, and all of this production only in Cameroon itself. The need in Cameroon is
only the need. This is just one client that I'm talking about. I'm not talking of the people who transform corn into animal feed, the SPCs. their turnover a year is at least $100 million
Yeah.
a year. I financed them in the past, so I know what their capacity is. Then my next door neighbor, but I cannot even supply to them because we don't have the capacity. So anybody coming into industrial farming now, I'll tell them to look at grains. And the other beautiful thing is that the government as well is trying to put a lot of restrictions about importation. So they're trying to encourage people to do industrial farming locally.
Yeah, so the tariff war is on.
No, we
might as well
started
take
the tariff
advantage
war.
of it.
We started the tariff war before
before
Trump
the
came to
war
power.
started. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
even with the agenda of 2035 with the president of, I'm not a politician, but he's trying to do everything to encourage ingrown production.
yeah.
So NULA wants to be able to educate people through agriculture. We have a foundation that we are teaching young people how to do agriculture. And the statement of agriculture is sexy. I remember Adeshina when he saw me in 2014, 2016.
Adeshina is the president of the African Development Bank. Yeah.
When I walked into a meeting and they said, that's a farmer, he said, that's my farmer. That's the way agriculture has to look. It doesn't have to look, because when we look at agriculture, we look at poverty, we see suffering, a woman with a cutlass and a baby on her back. No, we can still do agriculture and look the way we look. And right now we are trying to cultivate on all the land we have. We also have recently signed a strategic partnership with Brazil, because if you look at Brazil and Cameroon, it's the same climatic conditions, same soils. And in Brazil, they are doing corn at 13 to 15 tons per hectare. But when we do 8 tons, it's like it's a miracle. Why can't we do it? So we are trying to bring the technology to Africa. And one of the other, I also already mentioned that I wanted a lot of people to be involved in agriculture, and I'm already doing it. As you are aware, in the past 1 year, I've acquired over 400 hectares of land for people around me, individuals, 2 from the States, 2 in Cameroon, that are going into crop grains. Because all of these people, they are doing animal farming. Okay. And the challenge with them doing animal farming is that they are unable to afford animal feed. So when they come to me for consultancy, I will like, just do your own farm. Because it's not going to, the war in Ukraine is not going to end today. And the government is really pushing to encourage us to do agriculture in Cameroon.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the NOLA farm. I think we have some images which we're going to run, and you can just tell us a little bit about what's going on in the farm.
Okay. The other image just left. The first image it's a video, but I think we can share it if somebody's interested in industrial farming. Is the most expensive thing about doing large-scale farming is land preparation. And this stage where you're seeing a bulldozer there, that's the most important part. Once you've cleared the land, you've removed the trees, you know that you will never do it to the end of the project. So once you go through this stage, if you see the way we are pushing the trees, we are making sure that we don't take out the topsoil. So you see the soil is still dark. So this is the most important part of, or the most expensive part in doing industrial farming. You can go to the next slide. So once you take it out, it looks like this. This is before the tractors come to harrow. Okay, we are going back to the other one. Oh, that's me. I like machinery. Sorry, that's an industrial dryer.
You could just keep going, and we're running those pictures.
Yeah. So these are some of the workers in the farm, and I will talk about human resource later. In the course of the thing, these are my bankers. They come to see what we've produced. So when the corn is like this, it's ready for transportation. So the brasseries is so desperate that they come to you to pick it up. You don't even need to go and deliver. That's how desperate they are to come and pick up the corn. So these are just images of, on your left is 4 weeks, on your right is 3 weeks. And in the middle is when the corn is ready for delivery. Okay, this is just videos of the farm.
Obviously, to be able to produce at this scale, it's mechanized, right?
It has to be fully mechanized. It has to be fully mechanized. So the machinery, we need bulldozers, tractors, and
you need
accessories.
a harvester.
Yes. On the top left, that's a harvester, and then packaging. So for you to do grain industrial farming, because it's not all that you have to use. Cassava, you cannot, something like cassava, you cannot mechanize the whole process, but something like grains, soya beans, corn, sorghum, it has to be fully mechanized.
Yeah. And I can see we have it has a vast field here of corn that meets the eye, it goes right up to the sky, just to be able to, just giving a sense of the scale of production here. What does it take in terms of manpower to be able to do this? Now, we know we need the machinery, right? We've spoken about the machinery, the harvesters, beginning with the tractors, the harvesters, packing, bagging, all of that is needed. You did mention one of the slides about human capacity to be able to do this. What does it take, and how is that management?
Human capacity is mostly in terms of know-how. It's not the physical strength, because from the clearing to the planting is done by machines. Okay. So, but what is important there is, if you take tractor operators, they should know what they're doing. If you take somebody to do planting, they should know what to do. And then we work a lot with trained agronomists. Unfortunately, in Cameroon, I still have to import agronomists from Brazil or Kenya, because our people don't really want to work. That's the truth. But so far, the impact we have is that the people we have on the ground are already training our own Cameroonians to take the baton to continue. So you don't need too many workers when you are fully mechanized. Okay. Because everything is mechanized, from planting to harvesting to bagging. I think they only come in when they are loading. So you don't need a lot of workers when you're doing that for grain farming. For other industrial farming like cassava, you still need the muscle. For coffee, you still need human beings to work. For things like cashew nuts, you still need people to work. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of industrial farmings for things like nuts, which is a big market. Okay. Because once you plant them, the maintenance is very small.
Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about the larger opportunities, and I would like to come back later to talk about the other branches that have emerged from the NOLA Fund, but from a general opportunities perspective in Cameroon. Let's talk a little bit a lot more about the opportunities here in terms of what you are seeing. One, even with your experience as a banker, obviously, we need capital to be able to do this, right? It takes an investment to be able to do this. What are the challenges there or opportunities in terms of accessing capital to be able to go into this large-scale farming? Now, when we spoke last week, 2 weeks ago in a session, there was this whole thing about partnerships, about coming together, about working together to be able to get this done. But from your perspective.
Okay, I'll start with the opportunities first.
Okay.
Right now, we import $800 million worth of grains to Cameroon. This is just what is declared at the ports. Most of it is not even declared. We have 300 million population next door, Nigeria. So no matter what you produce in Cameroon, there is nothing like wastage, nothing. Because even now, they still come, they're infiltrating, they're hungry, they haven't mastered. Even whatever they do in Nigeria is small for them. It's almost 300 million people. So we have a market, we have a need, we have the source. We have government support in the sense that if, for example, today Cameroon comes up and say, okay, Lisa, I want to do an industrial farm, even if it's 500 hectares, it's easy to put a project together and go to the government. I'm not saying that it's easy. They'll do things because of recommendations, but they can facilitate importation. They can give you exoneration if you are importing equipment into Cameroon. That's their own way. They can subsidize that. And if, for example, you register a company in the Northwest or the Southwest, it doesn't mean that I will not go to the Northwest, but you register a company to do any type of agricultural transformation in these parts of the country, there is a lot of support. There's a lot of support that will come in. So there's a market, we have the best soils. In short, we have the best soils in Africa. We have the market. Now, the challenges that we have is even the passion. A lot of people just hear about agriculture, they want to do agriculture, but you have to be very passionate about it. You're not going to break even in the first year, especially if you're doing industrial, maybe you break it even in the second year. In terms of agriculture, industrial farming, you need to invest a bit before you attract funding. You're not just going to acquire land somewhere in Santa and you say, no, you go to a local bank or you go to an international funder and say you want to get finances. You should be able to have done some of the work. Like when you see the clearing, let's say if I was doing just a 50-hectare farm, the clearing has been done, the land preparation. You can go now to a local bank and say, okay, I need short-term working capital for seeds, for fertilizer, for all of those things. So it's easy to raise that type of money. But you must, as any business, you must have done something. And then there's a lot of funds that are supporting climate change. Yeah. Those are international funds. But still, when you go to them, they will want to hear about your history. They will want to know what your plans are. Bankers or funders are very shy from startups. It's true that we hear a lot about startups, but they are very, very shy about startups. And the advantage of being a woman is if you go anywhere in the world and you say you're doing farming, especially any farming that is impactful, they listen to you. But you should have done something. You can't stay in your nice office in the US or America and then you go and meet a funder and say, okay, I want to employ 1,000 people in Cameroon. Meanwhile, you've never been to Cameroon. You haven't started anything in Cameroon. It's impossible. So I'll advise anybody who is trying to do industrial farming is that you should have some level of capital to start. Yeah. And once you start, sometimes funders even come to you.
Okay. So we have one question from the audience. Kingsley is asking, what advice would you give landholders in other regions who are interested in what you are doing? How can someone fit in your ecosystem? Verbatim, that's Kingsley's question.
Cameroon is divided into 3 regions. There's the Savannah, the northern part. I mean, almost the desert. In the middle part, from Magba and up to Ngaoundéré, is the Savannah. That's where it's easy to do large-scale farming. In the south, it's mostly trees, so you cannot really do this where there are trees. So it will depend on the area where he is. If he can indicate where he is, I'll be able to tell him what grows there, because I also manage farms. I have a 3,000-hectare palm farm that I manage for a client in Kribi, but that farmer cannot do corn because the cost of clearing the land to do corn is expensive in the forest. So if I know exactly where he is, then I'll advise whether it's cassava. I wanted to show, this is a product that, oh, can you see me? I can, if
Yes,
the video is there.
we're going to spotlight that. Yeah.
This is a product that I did for a client. He's in the forest. He came to me and said, I have land. What do I do? So I said, the best thing there, you can do palms, you can do cassava, but you can do, this is the costing. This is a finished product already in supermarkets. So it just depends on the land. Anywhere in Cameroon, you can do agriculture. So if you can indicate, that we can further advise him.
Okay. All right. So yeah, let's continue the discussion about we spoke a bit about the opportunities in this. What are some and I don't want us to be stuck with the challenges, but what are some of the challenges that people can overcome, right? I know many people have left the US or Europe, the diaspora, and gone to Cameroon to try to do farming. I know some people who are online now who are actually farming in Cameroon. I think Theo has a plantain plantation in somewhere in towards Eden now. He's online. So there are people who they come and they've had all these challenges. We spoke like 2 weeks ago about the cost of failure. How can people overcome some of those challenges? One, you spoke about government collaboration. Many of us are we're petrified having to even work with the government of Cameroon. But what are some of those challenges that are common and how can people overcome them? Yeah, one
Okay.
of them. Go ahead, please.
The first challenge that people who come from abroad face is there's a lot of companies that are in handbags in Cameroon. There are a lot of people who tell lies. If you say you want to do industrial farming, you want to do a plantain farm, you want to do an animal farm, talk to somebody who is doing it.
Okay.
Because the challenge is somebody will write you a nice business plan. They've never planted plantain, they've never planted yam, and then they misguide you. And you put your money and then you lose it. There is a lot of charlatans. There are a lot of charlatans. I know people in this country that if they talk about corn or anything, you think that they're doing something. They're not doing 10 hectares. But if you follow them on social media, I'm just anti-social media. Because I wanted to get to the stage before I can share my knowledge. There's a lot of people who tell lies. They also, another way to get education is from institutions like IRAD. It's a government institution, they have their own challenges, but at least they are the best in terms of what type of seeds. They have some studies around every region in Cameroon. So I saw somebody in Puma, they have IRAD that controls that area. They will tell you the type of crops that can grow there. So go first to them. Also go to people who are actively doing agriculture. Not people who write business plans, but who are actively doing agriculture. Do your research. Avoid family members. So
We should actually have the facts from the
yes.
right sources as opposed to making assumptions or just relying on people. What about
Yes.
the whole concept of not only asking people who are doing it, but maybe joining forces, leveraging or supporting or building partnerships with people who are already leg up, who are already doing the work?
Partnerships are very, very good, but you should know whoever you're joining.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You should know if somebody comes and says, oh, I'm looking for a financial partner in my company, you should make sure that you do your due diligence. If they say they're doing 2 billion turnover in a year, you should be able to check, get a lawyer to check whether everything that they're saying is true. And then you should always try to find out what is your exit plan. Because there's a lot of people who come and present elaborate projects online. Maybe there's a scheme that is going on now that everybody will say, okay, put 10 million and then you get 5 million every year. Now, do your research. If your guys or everybody on I Am Cameroon, if 3-4 of you sit down and say, okay, we want to do cassava farming, we want to do corn farming, we want to do anything. You sit down together, get the experts on the ground, let them do the proper studies, give you the right figures. There are a lot of challenges. It's not only good to tell you the things that are good. There are a lot of challenges. There are costs that you always have to have that 10% costs unforeseen, because you can be in a farm and the sous-prefect of your region just comes and says, or somebody from environment will just come and say, oh, you should always have that leeway. But if you can weather that storm, it's very profitable.
Okay. Great. So yeah, you picked up on the message left in the group from somebody who has 100 hectares in Puma in the littoral region, and he said he needs advice. But I heard you talking about Irad, but obviously the region will determine what he grows, right?
No, for Puma he has plantain, he has cocoa, he has plantain, cocoa, palms, and cassava. And those things, all of the things that I mentioned, you don't need to clear the land the way I cleared it. Because when I clear the land for machinery, you have to remove everything with the roots. But for what he wants to do, in Puma, you don't need to clear the land like that. You can use an engine saw to clear the land. And then the wood from there, you can use it for charcoal, which is another source of income, and you get carbon credits from it anyway.
Okay, that's the impact aspect of farming, which is quite interesting, and I would like for us to touch on a little bit on that, because what does that mean for the Makba community, where you have this massive farming operation going on? How are you dealing with the environmental impact or the impact in that community? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Okay. I will say that I'm already like a small chief in Makba area, because when you go into an area to do any project, that's another thing that we needed to mention. Make sure that your impact is felt. You employ people locally, even though some of them don't want to work. Like where we are, we build pallets, we brought water, and we are working on bringing electricity. This one is, we've asked the government to bring 36 kilometers of electricity. It will come to the farm, but it will also, every village that is along the way, that 20-kilometer stretch, they'll benefit from as well. So if you even go to Makba now and say you want to, they are praying for you, because everybody has zinc. We compensate the villagers as well. Every end of the year, we say, what do you want? Everybody wants to build a house and put a brand new zinc. We just provide zinc. And now every young person in that community is trying to build a house, because they know that they are going to get zinc. So you should be able to also, we don't have to be only profit oriented. We have to be able to, even when we're in the Northwest, we renovated the hospital, we renovated the school. You make sure that even the people you employ, they're able to pay school fees for their children. So it's easy. And now, even in my area, I've created an outgrower scheme. So small farmers, small cooperatives are doing their jobs. They're growing corn. I give them seeds. They're growing because they know that I'll buy. And then I also send technicians to make sure that they are following the right farming practices. And so when you build even though I have my farm, but I'm building the community around me, it's good for your protection. It means nobody can ever attack you. You never know, because everybody is benefiting from you being there. The other thing I'll advise when it comes to land acquisition, there are a lot of companies that came to Cameroon and failed. I think there's one from America that came and went straight to the government, and the government allocated land to them to do some sort of palms. They did not negotiate with the villagers. They didn't compensate the villagers. And what happened? The villagers attacked them. So make sure that you follow. And these people they're not very greedy. Follow a procedure. Make sure that they are happy that you are in their land. even if you pay them, make sure that you are happy. They're happy that you're there, because in this country you can go and probably, I would say, go and take 100 hectares in Adamawa. You go there, there are people who are already farming there. How do you get them out of the farm? So you have to be careful, and you have to do your due diligence. You have to meet the rulers, the I don't know, the kingsmen. Make sure that you even when you're paying for the land, before even starting the land title procedure.
So I think there is a lot of interest in the diaspora about coming back to Cameroon. I see Charles Dovoma has dropped a message that he's acquiring. Charles is in the UK and he's acquiring land in the littoral region around Susa, and
Okay.
I think now you have you're a consultant in essence.
No, of course I do a lot of
Consulting.
consulting, but I must warn you, I don't like time wasters. I manage a lot of farms, but I want anybody coming to do agriculture to say that, okay, I'm coming. At the beginning, it's going to be difficult. At the beginning, I have to put in some money. I have to put in time. I have to listen to people who know what they're doing, and then you can move on from there. I have people who have come in and they say, "Oh, my brother can manage the farm," and let's say, "Okay, let me show you something. This is seeds. These seeds have come from France. They are not good for our soils, because once you plant these seeds, you can only plant them once."
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
there have been conversations like this going on in different Haiti, for example,
yeah.
has had challenges with that. So you're saying that the grains that you actually plant in your farm can be regenerated. You can use
Yes.
those seeds. Okay, that's great.
We had, oh, I didn't forget that part. With my Brazilian partners, we are growing our own seeds
Okay.
that we are going to use and then distribute, because you discover that when you buy seeds from France, those are temperate climates, they are not tropical climates. So you don't expect the seeds to be as performant as the seeds that you're on the ground. So one of the things I was saying is, when you're coming, make sure that you do your research. Talk to people who have already done it.
Yeah.
Don't follow social media to do agriculture. It's not real. Don't follow people who are posting to do agriculture. It's not real. We have Bamileke guys here who are doing 500-600 hectares, but you've never seen them on social media. Don't follow social media to do agriculture. Go to the right parties, make your inquiries before you invest your money.
Yeah.
And then you guys in the diaspora, to start an industrial farm is expensive. Three of you can come together and form a company, form a cooperative, and do it together. It's even easier that way. The risk, everybody, it's easier to start.
Yeah, those are ongoing conversations that we've been having as I Am Cameroon internally, as ways in which we can really make a contribution and then reduce the risk for everybody. But we have Phil. Phil is an active member of I Am Cameroon. He's sporting his I Am Cameroon hat here. Phil is also doing some farming in Cameroon, and Phil would like to share some thoughts, and I had some questions for you.
Okay.
Yeah, Elisa, nice to meet you. Thanks for this opportunity. Just as a fellow farmer, hearing you relate your story is just exciting, right?
Thank you.
Remember one of our I Am Cameroon videos, we're talking about agriculture, and I remember in that video I said agriculture is sexy. Some of my friends laughed, called me up and said, "That's nice, but agriculture is sexy." I said, "Yes." When you get into it, the passion, the love for it, it just continues to compound. First, kudos to you. I have a lot of questions. I just keep going on and on. But there are some things you've said here that I wish I'd heard back in 2013. I wish I'd listened. For example, the bulldozers going through the farm, just knowing that they don't have to mess with the topsoil. That would have cost me a whole season of corn, because we messed up the topsoil,
yeah.
getting out and then still plant. But again, when you hear it, like you pointed out, talk to the people who've done it, right? Talk to the people who've done at the size that you're trying to come into to actually farm. Now, going back to your seeds that you guys make, what's special about it? Because the last time I'd imported seeds from South Africa, and I was told, hey, per plant, you have like you get like 3 corn, on it. So what's special about yours compared to what's in the market?
So we are just starting the seed production. We haven't done everything. So we had to do a lot of soil studies. We are going to grow seeds that match our soils.
Okay.
So we are not going to do anything new. We are just going to transfer the Brazilian technology. Why? Because it's the same climate, same soils, and they are at 15 tons per hectare. So before getting to this point, to the seed production, to the project, it's been over a year and a half of research to make sure that, okay, this is what we want to plant. So we want to specialize in maize, soya beans, and sorghum seeds for now. And then hopefully in the next 2 years, we can bring rice. But for now, we want to the studies have been done on those 3 crops.
Okay.
Where are you farming it, by the way?
Oh, Bomana, behind the mountain. Bomana.
Okay, are you able to do industrial farming there?
No, well, that was my next question. What's the size of land that you need for industrial farming?
When somebody comes to me and says they want to do grains, any grain.
Correct.
I always exaggerate, but if you don't have 100 hectares, don't start, because there's equipment that you have to buy. There's fuel. If you go and take an equipment to do 10 hectares, it doesn't make any sense. So, and then corn in that area where you are, you can do corn 3-4 times, three times a year. But where I am, you only do corn twice a year because of the rain. But the disadvantage with the area is that you cannot mechanize it. And then your yield can never be great. Your yield can never be great.
And that's because of the topography of the...
the yield, because if you want to really, you guys are in America, you've seen the corn farms. Have you seen anybody with a cutlass? No. It's mechanized.
Iowa, you see the cornfields there, the cornfield, the plains.
So for you to do mechanized farming, it has to be mechanized farming. It has to be, you have to involve equipment, because even when you're planting and they say every 5 centimeters or every 10, right, with the planter, there's precision. You are not sending somebody to go and to even put fertilizer. At some point, they get tired, they go and sit under the tree. They won't do it.
Correct.
But your area is fantastic for yam, though.
It's great for yam. I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah. Okay. I can. Yeah.
I think we'll exchange contacts after this.
Yeah.
Sure. Now, one more question, please, before you go. Now, for somebody who is interested in taking part in this Brazzari's contract, you said 100,000. What's the load that you expect? But you're only doing 10% of what Brazzari's needs. At the moment, if someone is interested, how can they go in partnership with you, or is it, how would you advise them if they want to look into that?
There are 2 ways you can do it. I can help you acquire your own piece of land.
Okay.
Okay, I'm a champion with Brazzari's now. So if I tell them anything, they will accept. So we can negotiate those contracts for you, but they will see some sort of, they're very precise. Even Guinness. Once Guinness signed my contract and I was talking to somebody, he said, Guinness is like IFC. For them to sign your contract, the due diligence they go on you, the procedures is tough. So you must do that. As far as partnering with me, you have to talk offline.
Okay.
I told you I have 5 Americans who have acquired land around me. They are not in my company, but they are around me. Then I'm helping them to set up as well.
Okay. Right.
Hey, by the way, there's an information that is missing from this talk. Are Obenson is actually the chairman of NULA Group since 2018.
Yeah.
You
So
didn't want
that's
to
a
say
big
that.
investment. So if Peel, if you're interested in coming, we can talk offline about partnership and growing. But this has been an endeavor that we've been invested in since since 2018, and we've been going through all of this challenges to even get to this point. Because sometimes at the end of the day, it's not just talking before it happens. You actually have to go through the process, go through the experience, fail many times along the way, overcome challenges, then get to a point. And not to say that there are no challenges in this business or challenges do not lie ahead, but getting to this point where we have this significant progress that has been made. So Lisa has acquired a lot of experience in the field, in the field farming, but also from a technological standpoint, from a collaboration standpoint, even from a financing standpoint.
Yes.
So again, we speak about the cost of failure. It's really important that we leverage those who have had the experience, and it's always good to get to the point where you're talking from a position of authority about what's happening. So Phil, you have come in, and Lisa, there's lots of people who are asking for your contact here. I would obviously need your permission to drop that in, but I would ask anyone who wants to learn more about this to go to nulagroup.org. I'm going to drop the website here to learn more about the organization going forward. We have about 10 more minutes, and I see a hand up from Chi. Chi, I'm not sure if you can drop your question in the Q&A. I don't know whether I can grant you the opportunity to speak. I'm going to try that and see if it can work. So that you can ask your question. We also have a question or maybe a comment from Dem Tazifo, who says, industrial farming is very capital intensive. Is there a ballpark figure on how much investors would need to be able to enter the market?
Do you want me to answer his question?
Yes.
Okay, his question is, this depends on where he is, the area. First of all, where he wants to, whether he has already acquired the land. If he hasn't, what's the cost of land? What's the cost of clearing of the land? I can't answer that question. It has to be in a specific locality. You cannot answer that because I don't know whether he wants to do maize, he wants to do beans, he wants to do cassava. You can't really answer that. It has to be case by case.
Obviously, yes. Thanks. And then Chi, who wanted a little bit more information about land acquisition and how grants this. So I think there was a question about legally, how challenging is it to acquire land in Cameroon? As you see, probably this is somebody from outside in the diaspora, and many people in the diaspora seem to be wanting to have this question about how to acquire land in Cameroon. And you said you've helped several people in the process. So,
well, there's some very important information that I have to share with you. It's true that we shy away from the government, but the area of the Ntui area, the government has allocated 40,000 hectares. 400,000 hectares in that land, and they are giving it to anybody who wants to do industrial farming. I haven't done the procedure, but that's another way to, so you contact the Ministry of Agriculture and they can help with that. But personally, what I do is, since I'm already in a community where I'm well known, I've impacted well, and they are so interested. Everybody wants to imitate what is happening in my village. So the villages around me, they come to me and say, we want you, bring somebody to come and get land from us. It's easy to go through that. That is a straightforward way. How you do it, you buy the land from the villagers. But the villagers don't have the right to sell land because it's not titled. So you sign an agreement with the villagers that the land has to be transferred to you, your company. You're part of a company community, you employ people and that. After you've done that, then you, Lisa or anybody will do a project with what you want to do in that land. And then you go to lands. And the land, there are two ways. If it's more than 50 hectares, it can end at the level of divisional officer. If it's more than that, it has to come from the Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Lands. Would write the project, take it to the Minister of Lands, and he will authorize that a visit. I don't know how to put it. Now I'm a francophone.
Visit
A
techniques,
delegation.
site inspection.
So yes, so people will involve environment, lands. They'll come and visit the land and make sure that okay, everything you're meeting the standard, what you want to do according to your project, and they'll give you an arrêté. The first arrêté is for 5 years. If it's a concession, arrêté is 5 years, and they come back after 5 years to make sure that you've actually done something. If you've done something on the land, then you can get a permanent a concession, which is 99 years. These are technical things, but there are people, because if you want to do a land title, for example, on 500 hectares, it means that you have to do 49 hectares, sometimes it's even more expensive. So either way, you have to compensate the villagers, which is buying the land, and then you apply. And for agricultural projects, they are really, it's not that bad.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Lisa. In the interest of time, we have 2 minutes to go here. This has been a fascinating conversation, quite eye-opening. Large-scale farming, there is the takeaways here that there is tremendous opportunity to go into large-scale farming, that there is a need, there is a market, that we can, there's room for everybody. The harvest is rich, the laborers are few, as I get to say. So with guidance, with consultants like you, with collaboration and partnerships, we can actually get involved in large scale farming in Cameroon and be able to not only address the need of the Cameroon market, but even be in a position to begin to export and actually begin to transform the landscape for Africa. And I know that this is some conversations that we've had as part of the NULA Group board about some of the things that we want to see landscape. If you would just like to round up here in the next minute with some closing thoughts about what you see in the future for NULA Group.
Well, NULA Group is looking forward to seeing everybody on this platform come back home. Home is good. And we are available. We are part of this group, so we are available to share our knowledge and guidance to anybody who's interested. Serious members only, as I will say. And NULA Group in the next 10 years, our dream is to be able to educate even by tech. There's tech aspects that are going to come in that we can even train you. You don't need to be, it doesn't have to be physical. So NULA Group, in the next 10 years, we want to be, right now we are the champion de maïs in Cameroon, but we want to be champion de l'Afrique centrale. So, so that's the goal.
Yeah. Thank you very much. To everyone, I shared the NULA Group website. You'd see that NULA Group essentially is made up of this, has 5 pillars. One of them, farming, that we've spoken elaborately today. There's NULA Farms. The next one is going to be NULA Foods, and Lisa did show some of the products that she's helped people transform. And our next session here is going to be talking about agricultural produce transformation in 2 weeks. But there's also NULA Finance. She has a background in banking and also helping access capital to be able to go into farming. And we can't talk about all of this when we're talking about agriculture and agricultural products without talking about renewable energy, because those are byproducts of agriculture that would also support the farming in itself. Biofuels and all of that should come as byproducts of this. And then there is the NOLA Foundation, which is some of the work that is also being done in training the next generation of farmers that are going to, because we spoke about all the opportunities. So that's NOLA Group as a whole that I'm proud of being part of, that we are showcasing today. But just to say that there is great opportunity, there is not competition, there's room for collaboration, and many more people are needed for us to get the job done. So Lisa, I know I squeezed your arm to make sure that you come on this. You've been very shy of talking about your work, but I must commend you. Congratulations for the amazing work that's been done. And thank you for giving us an opportunity to hear about your experience. We surely will be coming back for more as time goes on. And anyone who is unsure and wants to contact NOLA Group, I will be putting this, will be on YouTube, so you can share this with other people, but you can also go to the I Am Cameroon Facebook page as well. We will be dropping in the address of NOLA Group, and you can reach out anytime for consulting work. Again, thank you very much. I know our host here, I'm going to turn this back to Sally to close us up for the day.
Thanks. Thank you, Ari. Thank you, Lisa. This was very insightful, very, very educative. I promise you, it never crossed my mind like, oh, some certain seeds don't work with certain soils. I'm hearing about it for the first time. Again, that's the reason why I'm not a farmer. But these are information that I think benefits the public a lot. Temperatures, climate, and everything that the regular person like myself have no idea. So thank you so much for making time for us today. It's a Saturday evening in Cameroon. You could have been anywhere, but you chose to be here with us. So we do appreciate your time greatly. And for everyone who's just watching for the first time, please go to iamcameroon.org and become a member. These are some of the opportunities and conversations that you can be part of, that you can experience, and things that you can learn when you join the movement. Thanks, everybody. We will see you again next time for the part 3 of our agriculture series.